Love beyond borders. Chika was the only daughter of a wealthy businessman. She had grown up surrounded by luxury, private schools, exclusive vacations, and the finest things money could buy. Yet, despite her riches, Chika often felt something was missing. She longed for genuine connection, not just the endless parade of lavish events and people trying to impress her. One afternoon, while attending a charity event with her family, Chika wandered off to find some fresh air. She ended up near the gardens of the venue, where she noticed a young man sitting under a tree, lost in a notebook filled with complex equations. His name was Emeka. He wasn't at the event. By invitation, he was there to help a friend, who had a ticket. Emeka was different from the crowd Chika usually interacted with. His clothes were simple, his demeanor humble. But there was something about him that intrigued her. She watched him for a moment, silently admiring how deeply engrossed he was in his math problems. He had an intense look in his eyes, as if the world around him didn't exist. Feeling bold, Chika approached him and struck up a conversation. "Hey, what's that you're working on?" she asked, genuinely curious. Emeka looked up, startled at first, but then gave her a warm smile. "Oh, it's just some math stuff. I've been trying to solve this equation for days now." Chika raised an eyebrow. "You're a math genius." He chuckled. "I wouldn't say genius, but I do love it." They talked for a while, and Chika was fascinated by his knowledge and passion for mathematics. He didn't treat her like a rich girl, and that made her feel at ease. Emeka, on the other hand, couldn't believe he was talking to someone like Chika. He'd heard of her before. She was everywhere. Yet, she was different. She wasn't interested in his background, his lack of wealth, or any superficial things. They simply talked as two people, sharing a moment in time. Before they parted ways that evening, Chika invited him to join her for coffee sometime. A bond was formed that neither could ignore. Over the next few weeks, Chika and Emeka grew closer. They met for coffee, studied together at the library, and exchanged books and ideas. Chika was amazed at how deep Emeka's knowledge of the world was, especially in mathematics. It was evident that his brilliance went beyond numbers. He had a profound understanding of life. However, Chika's world was very different from Emeka's. While she had a family that could buy her anything she wanted, Emeka had struggled to get by. He lived with his mother and younger siblings in a modest home, and every day was a challenge. His family had always sacrificed so he could go to school, and he worked part-time jobs to support them. Despite these differences, Chika never felt like Emeka was less than her. He was brilliant, kind, and humble, qualities that only drew her closer to him. But as much as they tried to ignore the divide between their worlds, it was there. Chika's father, Mr. Onwuka, had high expectations for her future, and was already making plans for her to marry someone from a prominent family. When he found out about her growing relationship with Emeka, he disapproved immediately. "You don't know where he's from, Chika," Mr. Onwuka said one evening. "You deserve someone who can offer you the life you're accustomed to." Chika was torn. She knew her father was only looking out for her, but her heart belonged to Emeka. She couldn't let go of the connection they shared. But how could she bridge the gap between her family's expectations and her love for someone like Emeka? Emeka's life was about to change. One evening, he received a call that would alter his future forever. He had been selected for a prestigious scholarship to study abroad, a dream he never thought possible. The scholarship was a recognition of his excellence in mathematics, and it would take him to a renowned university in the United States. For Emeka, this was everything he had worked for. But the moment he shared the news with Chika, a wave of emotion washed over him. I don't know what to say," Emeka said, his voice trembling with excitement and fear. "This is my big break. I can't believe it." Chika was overjoyed for him but couldn't hide the sorrow in her heart. She knew this was a great opportunity for Emeka, but it also meant that their time together was limited. Their love had just begun to blossom, and now, fate was pulling them apart. "I'm so proud of you, Emeka," Chika whispered. Her eyes filled with unshed tears. "You deserve this." Emeka pulled her into a tight embrace. "But I'm going to miss you so much, Chika." They both knew the reality of their situation. Chika's family wouldn't approve of them being together, especially with Emeka leaving for another country. But the love between them was undeniable. As the days passed, they spent every moment they could together, savoring their time before Emeka's departure. Emeka's departure day arrived, and with it came an overwhelming sense of loss for both of them. At the airport, Emeka held Chika's hand, promising her that distance would not change their bond. "I'll study hard. Chika, I'll make you proud," Emeka said, his voice filled with determination. Chika wiped away a tear, forcing a smile. "I know you will. But promise me something. Promise me we'll make it work, no matter the distance." "I promise," Emeka said, his voice steady despite the lump in his throat. "I love you, Chika. No matter where I go, you'll always be in my heart." With that, Emeka walked through the security gate, and Chika watched him disappear into the crowd, her heart aching. She wasn't sure what the future held for them, but she knew one thing: her love for Emeka would remain, no matter the miles between them. A year passed, and Emeka excelled in his studies. He made remarkable progress in his field of mathematics and soon became known as one of the brightest students at the university. Meanwhile, Chika, despite the pressures from her family, had stayed true to herself. She had grown into a confident young woman who had no interest in living a life based on societal expectations. Then, one evening, Chika received a letter from Emeka. It wasn't just a letter, it was an invitation. Emeka had completed his studies and was returning to Nigeria to pursue a career in academia. But he had also written something else. He was coming back to ask for her hand in marriage. "Chika," the letter read, "I have learned so much in this year away, but there is one thing I've known all along. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I'm coming back to you, and I hope you'll say yes when I ask for your hand." Chika's heart soared. Emeka had not only overcome the challenges of distance, but had also remained steadfast in his love for her. When they reunited at the airport, there were no more doubts. They knew that love, true and pure, could bridge any gap, be it wealth, distance, or time. Emeka held Chika close as they walked hand in hand, ready to start a new chapter of their lives together. No longer did their differences matter. They were two souls destined to be together, and nothing would ever change that.